Hey guys, welcome to 44's channel. If this is the first time you've been here, hello, my name is Jess, I'm a life coach and I've been making all these different videos on topics within personal development. So this video is part of a series called Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich is a book written by Napoleon Hill and it includes 14 principles of success. So basically 14 different things that people in the past have done that's contributed to their success. So this is the 6th one in the series. It's on organized planning. So that is chapter 7. If you'd like to see the rest of the series, there's a playlist on my channel called Think and Grow Rich. So just go to my channel, press playlist, and then you'll see the second one is Think and Grow Rich. And then you'll see the rest of them there. So let's jump into organized planning. So organized planning was a really long chapter. If you've read this book, you probably would have noticed that as well. It's more than 25 pages long. Yeah, like I'm just trying to count how many pages there are. It goes from page 96 all the way to page 132. So quite a long one. And I've decided I'm going to break this one up into different videos. So there's going to be probably 3 videos altogether, and I'm not going to talk about every little thing in here because there's some things like on actual organized planning, and then they talk about, so like just they have different like paragraphs and different sections on different things, and in my opinion it's not all linked to organized planning per se. It's more just stuff that kind of goes along with it. But example, so it's like someone organized planning. Then the example, there's the major attributes of leadership. So I'm going to make a video on that because I think that's quite useful to know. Then the 10 major causes of failure in leadership. I'm also going to make a video on that because I also find it interesting. And then it talks about the fields where leadership is required. But the thing to note about this was that this was written in around the 1930s. I think it was published in 1934 or 1936. So obviously, like when he wrote this, it was in that time, and not everything's going to 100% relate to today. Although, to be fair, it all is actually quite relatable. I mean, the first one it says is that we need leaders in the field of politics, and I mean, we still need that. So, I mean, all of this is still relevant, even though it was written ages ago. But there's a lot of stuff on like how to apply for a position at a job, how to get the best job, and obviously in those days they didn't have email or CV. You had to print out your CV and hand it in and post it and all of that. So I mean that's going to be different. But yeah, so there's like a lot in here which I'm not going to cover. Unless you want me to. So unless you want me to talk about CVs and how to apply for a job and get the best job. But just bear in mind that this was written in the 1930s and there's more knowledge that other people have come up with today. So yeah, and then something else, I was also contemplating making a video on, there's this part on the 30 major causes of failure. So I was thinking of doing that. I might not. We'll see how we go. And then there's also here 28 questions you should answer. But if you'd like to answer those questions, then I would suggest you get this book. So in this video, I'm just going to speak a bit about what organized planning is, why it's important, and what Napoleon Hill says about it. And then I'll speak a little bit about what I personally think about organized planning and how having a plan can help you. So Napoleon Hill says that a large contributor towards success is having a plan. You can't just walk in somewhere and go with the flow and kind of just make up things as you go along and change things as you like without having some sort of plan in place. So you're going to have more success if you've actually planned it beforehand. And he says that the quality of your results are determined. That bird, I don't know if you can hear it. It's funny because that bird, my family always calls it the Jessica bird because that bird talks a lot. Like for the longest of times, it's always been the Jessica bird because I used to speak like a lot when I was a kid, well, to my family. But anyway, the quality of your results is determined by the quality of your plan. So he says that if you are getting the wrong results, it's because your plan is wrong and you need to tweak it or change it in order to get different results. And he says that when you are making this plan, it helps to have, he's got this term called a mastermind. So a mastermind is just a group of people who are all committed to success. So I know there's like lots of masterminds all over the world. My mom actually hosts masterminds. If you're interested in joining a mastermind, just reach out to me and then I can put you in connection with my mom, who is also a coach. But she, example, has a coaching mastermind, and what happens is that, oh, that Jessica bird is talking so much. So what happens is that like about 8 different coaches come in and they meet once a month, example, and then somebody will present a problem. So each person has a chance to present a problem or to present their business, and then everyone around the table can give feedback and can try solve the problem or give them intuitive advice or their thoughts. And basically it just helps sometimes to sit down with a group of people who are committed to success and who want you to grow, and for them to give feedback, because it's like 2 heads are better than 1. So he says that when you're coming up with a plan, it helps to be in a mastermind and for you to all sit down together. And I mean, everyone has a different experience and different type of thinking and different mentality, different skills, and so that's why it can really help to sit down with other people and for them to add to the plan. Because maybe you're seeing this perfect plan and someone can come along and say, oh, that's not going to work, you should change that. But then of course that's where you need to be open-minded and appreciative of feedback rather than seeing feedback as this mean thing. I mean, feedback can ultimately just help you to grow. And then Napoleon Hill also says that persistence is very important, and if one plan works, it doesn't matter, just move on to another plan. So he's saying that people fail, it's not going to go perfectly the first way around. Actually, failure can help, because when you fail, you can see what went wrong and then you can change your plan or do something differently. And sometimes it honestly works the most when you experience failure for yourself rather than just reading about failure, because I think it's just like that experience element, I feel it makes a bigger difference than someone just telling you. So basically what I'm saying is that it's important to fail so that you can see for yourself what works and what doesn't work, and that can grow you. So with businesses, example, if you're starting up your business, there's this thing called a business plan. So it's very important for you to, instead of just jumping in and you're not, like sometimes when we don't have stuff written down, we don't know what needs to get done, we don't know what action needs to be taken, we just jump in and kind of do whatever, and we don't have that much structure. And so that's why there's things like business plans. So you sit down and you plan everything before actually doing anything, and then you can see what resources are required and what needs to be done. And also something else that I thought, like an example of a plan. So there's this YouTuber called GeoWizard. He does a lot of, I don't know if you know the game GeoGuessr, but GeoGuessr, it's this like cool game I've seen people play. You basically get put into the middle, in the middle of nowhere on a map, and then you have to say where you are, like the exact street in the world. So you could be placed in the middle of nowhere, and then you have to say where it is. So that's this game that people play. And then this guy called GeoWizard, his name is actually Tom, I think, but he came up with this series of how he decided to walk in a straight line across Norway. So that was his goal. He wanted to walk in a straight line across a country. Like that was his goal. And in the past he did it in one country and it didn't work. But then he found another one and he decided on Norway. But then he didn't just rock up in Norway and like off we go. I mean, he did succeed in doing that. And I'll put the description in box below if you want to watch it. It's really interesting. But he didn't just like rock up and like, okay, like let's try to do this. He had to do a lot of planning beforehand. So firstly, he had to choose the country which made the most sense. Then he had to choose the exact place. There was a lot of planning, and like this would require a canoe, and then his wife brought in the canoe, and then the wife would drive to this point, and then there he would meet her, and then they would walk up to this point. Like they planned every little thing. Because if he hadn't planned it, if he'd just shown up and been like, oh, here I am, then he probably wouldn't be able to do it. Because, I mean, there could have been millions of obstacles. He had to go take all of that into account. So that's why it's just so important to have a plan, so that you don't just walk in blind. You have some sort of strategy. So planning can also help with getting through your day. So for me, example, I know that if I don't plan my day, I sit and I do absolutely nothing. Like, that's just the reality of the situation. If I don't actually have, like, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, I will literally sit and do absolutely nothing. Like, everyone's always like, oh, Jess, you're so hardworking and everything. And I'm like, I actually have to push myself to do work and be productive, or else I'm just going to sit and do nothing. But luckily I have worked out, you have to write a list if you want to be productive. So even for today, so last night I wrote like the longest list of everything that needs to get done today. And I'll literally put things like wake up at this time, eat, do like morning pages. I haven't done morning pages yet. Like, that's actually not part of my list yet. It's later on. But like, I had a specific thing: attend this Zoom call, then give feedback to the person, then come and do this video, then I'm making 2 other videos after this. And like, I've written that all down and I have a checklist, so it's on my phone as a memo, and I've got that all the way until the end of the day. And I just have noticed that when I have something to, when I've got like a guideline, it's like I know what needs to get done. And it's like something I can focus on and I can do it. But I feel like when it's, sometimes I'm like, oh, I'll just like see what I feel like doing, and then I just don't do anything, because sometimes it's like there's so much stuff, and if you don't actually write it down and come up with a plan, that stuff's not going to get done, because it's just so overwhelming, you don't know what to do. But if you can break things up into steps, then you can see, okay, I can do this first. Okay, now I'm going to focus on this. Now I'm going to focus on this. And then you can slowly work down the list. And I didn't used to be a list person at all. My mom was actually surprised the other day when I said, oh, I write lists. She was like, you've never been a list person. But I like, that was the problem, was I never wrote lists because I was just waiting for inspiration. And then because of that, I wasn't as productive as I should be. Like, I wasn't using the most of each day. So I definitely would recommend that if you are someone who procrastinates a lot, or you feel like you're doing absolutely nothing, force yourself when you go to bed at night to make a list of, okay, in the morning I'm going to wake up at this time, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, and put all the stuff that needs to get done, because sometimes it can be hard to put stuff on the list because we don't feel like doing it. But just force yourself to write this down, and then have an intention that tomorrow I'm going to wake up and be energized and good, and I'm going to get through this list. So you even plan your mood, and then because of that, you wake up the next day and you feel good, and then you get energized and you do all of this stuff. If you do write lists, I'd love to know below how that works for you. Do you write your list on your phone, or are you a more paper person? I do it on my phone because I seem to have my phone with me all the time, and it's just convenient. But yeah, I'd love to know what you do and what your habits are with regards to this. Do you plan the day? Do you plan the week? How does it feel when you do that? So comment down below and comment any other thoughts that you have. But thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and then please hit subscribe. Okay, the mirror image is confusing now. Okay, so because I never know like which way subscribe is. Like, is subscribe on this side? See, I should have planned this. I think like is here because it's a mirror image. Yeah, I think like is here, and then subscribe is down here. Subscribe is on the right, but it's a mirror image, so yeah, I don't know. Like, when I'm filming it, it's a mirror image, but once it's filmed, it's not going to be. So anyway, like, I know I messed it up last time, but yeah, so subscribe if you want to see more of my videos, and then hit that bell next to it if you want to get notifications every time I post a new video. And I post a new video every Saturday. And then share this with anyone you think would benefit from this, and somebody who maybe you think needs to start planning. Maybe you know someone in your life who's super disorganized and stressing you out, then just send them this video, and hope that they don't get to this part where I'm busy in telling them your reason for sending that to them, and you think that they're a chaotic person. So yeah, I hope you have an incredible and wonderful day, and I'll see you next week with a new video. Bye guys!